What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Scarlet Witch / X-Men MCU video. We had a pretty interesting discussion on my Discord the other day, link is in the description if you wanted to join it, about how the mutants will be introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We pretty much all agreed that Wanda will be involved somehow and will introduce the mutants, but how and where have they been all this time? The mutants have existed for thousands of years in society, dating back to the possible Stone Age Avengers, with Phoenix, who is hinted at by Agamotto, of being a mutant. Yes, if you didn't know, there are a Stone Age Avengers, and they were introduced in Marvel Legacy #1. The X gene was created in this universe by the celestial Oneg the Prober as a latent gene to appear later and to create the Homo Superior. This is just after another celestial, Ziran the Tester, had created the Deviants after experimented on a tribe of Homo erectus people called the Wanderers, and that went completely wrong, with Nazar the Calculator then creating what we know as the Eternals, aka Homo Immortalis. However, only the mutant gene was put in Homo erectus, and the Celestials, in summary, created the Deviants and Eternals, who are bitter rivals, and we will see that on the big screen in next year's Eternals movie, one which I am very, very excited for, namely because it's going to be very, very fun. It's going to go to places which we haven't really explored in the MCU, and is something which I hoped the Inhumans TV show would actually do, but that was absolute garbage. And thirdly, the mutants were created, but the X gene wouldn't manifest itself in humans until, well, pretty much an undisclosed number of years. Now, there is contention over who the first mutant was. However, I'm going to say the official first recorded mutant was Selene, who was in existence over 17,000 years ago. So what does this all mean? Well, of course we have an Eternals movie coming up, and originally this was set to release before Wandavision, as we learnt last year. However, many expected the Eternals to debut the X-Men in some fashion. Now, I don't expect the X-Men literally to pop up in the Eternals movie, but the Eternals were created by the Celestials, and so were the X-Men in a roundabout way. So, if the Eternals follows the more modern version, where they have forgotten who they are, like in Neil Gaiman's run, and Kumal's character is slowly shown who he truly is, then surely we would get a history lesson like we did in Guardians of the Galaxy, where we saw the Celestials for the first time, as the Collector explained just what the Infinity Stones are and where they came from. This essentially could be part 2, and we learn that the Celestials came to Earth to do some high school science experiments. Of course, this would be a small Easter egg, or possibly a post-credit scene, as we learn of the mutant gene. However, Wandavision is now coming first, and considering she is one of the most powerful characters to be connected with the mutant world, as there is a debate about whether she's a mutant or not, as Marvel in 2015 retconned her origin, making her an experiment of the High Evolutionary, and that was all to do with the Fox and Disney kind of feud they had, and where they pretty much tried to tank anything Fox were doing and went, you know what, she's not a mutant anymore, and we're going to use her in Age of Ultron, and that's that. Irregardless, the world of the MCU has no mutants, but why? Well, I found it odd that we never saw more of Wanda being created. We had one post-credit scene where we saw her and her brother in a prison cell, and that set the internet on fire. And then we saw her unleashed in the Avengers as she was created by Hydra, but that is that. And, well, the rest is history. Naturally, she got her powers from an Infinity Stone, and surely someone this powerful in the early stages would have just no idea how powerful she really is, let alone being able to control these newfound powers. We saw this with the leader, an Abomination getting powers and losing control. Even Aldrich Killian, he had the problem as well. And there is a theme in the MCU of characters getting powers and not being able to control them like the original people. And of course she did later try to learn her powers, however in WandaVision it's going to go completely out of the window. Yes, Eternals could bring the X-Men gene, or we could have an experiment like the Weapon X experiments, just like the Ultimate Universe, where that's how the mutants were created and it was an entire lie. However, I'm not too sure of that. I don't like that idea. And of course, in Ultimatum, it did all come to light, and Ultimatum was rumoured to be the next big Marvel movie. Or they could simply just come from another dimension. But there is a way to introduce them and have them instantly intertwined with the MCU history that goes back decades. So in House of M at the end, Wanda said no more mutants, and well, mutants became less and less. I wanted to take this idea and unpack it a bit. We know that Wanda can be very powerful, and from the WandaVision trailer, her powers are only getting stronger and stronger, seemingly creating her own reality. So what if when she was young, powerful, and very, very green with her powers, she actually willed the mutants out of existence? This would explain why there's no X-Gene in the universe, or there's no Xavier School, Magneto, or anything else. If she changed reality by mistake when being worked on Hydra, well, it's possible the easiest get out of this is why have there never been any mutants? One simple idea I could come up with just off the cuff is that there were mutants being experimented on by Hydra, and she was so upset about their plight that she simply said that I don't want them to exist anymore, because they would, or at least she didn't want the suffering to carry on. She simply rewrote reality, or maybe sent them to another dimension, and in WandaVision we can see her bring them back, or at least see what happened to them. As again, I'm not expecting them to return in WandaVision, because why would they bring back the X-Men inside a TV show on Disney+? Yeah, it's a bit out there. So this could possibly be explored more in Doctor Strange 2 and the Multiverse of Madness. This for me would work the best, as they simply come into Eternals, then where have they been all this time? If they are introduced in an Ultimate Universe way, where the X-Gene is created by the US government, then that feels a bit cheap. We wouldn't have the history of anything. We just have them moving forward. But what made Ant-Man so great for me personally is the idea that Hank Pym was going on missions in the past and interacting with different Marvel villains, and that's something that you could think of in your head, and you could think, who has he actually fought in the past? Here, if they always existed, they could just retcon it all and have them always exist, and it won't technically affect the main continuity or anything that's preceded it, because, well, they would simply be put back into that, and we could have different movies exploring their past and how they existed. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know it's a wild theory, I know it's wacky, but I'd love to hear what you think. So please do drop a like down below. Please do subscribe with notifications if you want more from us. And I'm hoping to get my boys video out tomorrow very, very early, as I have nothing else to do. And I will see you soon, and goodbye.